Hello, what up everybody? Creepy's the name and drawing's my game. Welcome to my very first drawing tutorial video on how to draw one of my OCs, Venus, in her succubus form, her true form. Alright, let's get started. So firstly what you do is you draw her eyes. And we're going to draw them like this. There's going to be one of her eyes. And it's supposed to give the impression that her eyes are half-lidded, because you can see I didn't completely round out the top area. It went down on the diagonal. And the reason that it's kind of flattened out there is because it's supposed to give the impression that her cheek is upraised, which it will be because she's smiling. So that's one of her eyes. Her other eye is essentially the same, except it's a bit smaller because we're not looking at her head on. We're looking at her from kind of a diagonal. So kind of a diagonal, not completely head on to her face, but a bit to the side. That's why one of her eyes looks smaller, because it's slightly farther away. And then I draw her hair. So what I do is I measure around where her eyes are. I measure like the very center point of it, and up to around this point right there. And then I draw a nice curve like that, and a nice curve like that, because her hair is swept to the side and tucked behind her ear. And I'm not going to be drawing her ear, because if I do that on any of my characters, it makes them look weird. Anyways. And then I go like this, just because that's going to be the rest of the hair on her head. And her hair is actually quite long. It like falls down to like around her knee area, but I'm going to draw the rest of that later once I draw the rest of her body. So for now we're just going to have that be her hair. Now we're going to do the rest of her face. First do her eyelashes, making like a little spike like this right there, and then making 3 more just like it. And I know that this camera doesn't have very good quality, so you can't really see it that well, but they're right there. And one of them is short, another one's a bit longer, another one's a bit longer, and then the last one is the smallest. Just to not have them all be the same size. It looks kind of weird that way. And then we do the same thing on her other eye, over her other eye. Same eyelashes. Then we're going to draw her eyebrows. They're just easy. They're just 2 lines, a bit down like that. And then we draw her smile. And it looks like that. Nice smile like that. And you'll notice that if you look closely, you can see on this corner of her mouth I did a little bit of a mark there. And that's supposed to make the smile look more prominent. It actually looks better than just having the curved line for a smile. I put the little mark there just to make it punch out more. And then drawing her head to make up her face is easy. You just follow from one point of her hair all the way to the other point. And now we're going to be drawing her body. So the pose that I'm going to draw her in is with her arms folded. They're not crossed, but they're folded, and they're under her breasts. So we're going to, firstly, because her breasts are like, above her arms, we're going to draw them first. So we're going to do a nice curve like that, first off. Then around this area, we're going to do another curve, nice and wide like that. And there, kind of like this. Then we draw her shoulder down, and then pause it there for a moment because we're going to be drawing her left hand. And what you do to draw her left hand is basically make a curved shape right here. That's her pinky finger. Then draw another one a bit longer, another one a bit longer, and then the last one smaller, the same size as the ring finger. And then her thumb can just be another smaller nub right there. Then we draw her elbow down to around here. And around here, that's where we're going to be drawing her right hand, or what can be shown of it anyways. Because it's like shown holding on to her elbow, we don't get to see very much of it. We only see the index finger, the middle finger that's behind it if you look closely, and the thumb. But we can, however, draw her arm following through and connect her hand with the rest of her arm to make that. And those are her folded arms under her breasts. Now we're going to draw the rest of her body. The way we do that is we try to give her body like a nice definite hourglass shape. Do a nice little curve there. You can see that it's not like a very big point, but it's not too flat of a curve either. You can tell it like goes inwards and then sharply goes outwards, but doesn't end with a point. It ends with a smooth end. And then here we don't do the same effect that we did there. We just draw it nice and straight, like this, like that. Then we're going to draw her legs. So firstly we're going to draw the shape of her butt, right there. And then we draw one of her thighs, one part of her leg like this. And then make the knee and up to around here, like that. That's one of her legs. It's bent, as you can clearly see. Her other leg, we're just going to go straight down. Straight down, like that. And then we're going to draw her feet, and that, personally to me, is very tricky, because I have a very hard time drawing characters' feet, but I'm going to do my best here. So, there. So that's one of her feet right there. The best human foot that I can do anyways. And then her other foot, because we're seeing it from like a different angle, slightly different angle, so it's going to look kind of different. The toes are going to look kind of more not able to be seen, but that's because they're very close. The lines that make up the toes on this foot are very close together, not spaced out like these are, because we're able to see the foot from closer of a head-on view than we can here, because this foot we're seeing from the side view, but this foot we're not. That's why they look different. So now, just draw her little belly button there. Now we're going to draw her outfit, what she's wearing. And being a succubus, she is dressed quite skimpily. She, down here for her undergarment, you follow along the same pattern that you did for her thighs. Like, you follow along with your pencil her thighs, down here, up, around, down, and there, making that kind of a shape. It's technically more T-shaped than this, but I'll just leave it at this for now because it's close enough. And that's her undergarment. It's a piece of leather, and it's connected by 2 threads. And the 2 threads go like this. There and there. 2 threads, 2 threads. What she's wearing up here are 2 pieces of leather that are kind of shaped like the letter L, kind of. But they're not done with straight. They're not done straightly. Before you draw them, just watch how I do them. Like that. Notice how I didn't make the lines nice and straight. I made them kind of curved. If you look, you can see that they're kind of curved, and it's to give them the impression that they're flush up against something that is round, which they are. So then they are connected by 2 threads as well. The 2 threads up here, like that. The 2 threads on the sides, like that. But in the center here, connecting the 2, they are actually have 3 threads instead of 2. So we actually draw 3 lines. And I accidentally blended the 2 lower lines together. That's why you can barely see them, but it's 3 lines. So now we've got her whole body worked out, but we're not done yet. We still have her demon wings to make, her tail, and of course the rest of her hair. So her succubus wings, they're very stereotypical demon wings. They look like this, kind of. That's one of them. And that's the other one. Yes, they're very stereotypical demon wings, but cut me some slack. The rest of her looks beautiful. And then for drawing her tail, what I do, this is a bit of a different method. What I do is I follow with my pencil along the curve of her body down to where her butt is, and then around there is when I press down and start drawing the tail, because I want to make it look like this curve of her body can either follow down her butt or it can go down to her tail, kind of almost like a crossroads. So the way that I do it is I just follow with my pencil. Around here, that's where I press. Just start doing her tail, like that. So you can see that this can either go down here and continue down her butt, or it can go down here and start going down the tail. And then we continue. But the tricky part about doing her tail is that you gotta maintain the same thickness of her tail. Like, if you have it be thicker in one area and then thinner in other areas, it's not going to look very good. You got to try to have it maintain the same thickness going all the way down. Because if you have it go down here and then suddenly big, and then just up there, then it's going to have like this big area down here, and that's not going to look good. And then for drawing her arrowhead tail, that's right, she's got an arrowhead tail. You basically draw that. And you can see that it's not a very straight arrow. It does have some curved areas to it. The little points down there, the point over there, it's curved. And that's to give it the impression that it's part of an organic part of the body, and it's not very straight and definite like some kind of piece of machinery or something. I don't know. If it looks very stiff, it looks very fake. So if it's got curves to it, it makes it look like it's part of an organic being, which it is. And now we're going to draw the rest of her hair. Like I said, this falls down to around her knees, so try to keep it having a very nice and fluid look to it. Nice, very smooth and fluid. And then draw little points here. Like that. So we've drawn her right now, And I will color her, but I found out that just now that the camera right now is running out of batteries, so it could shut off at any moment. So I'm going to stop the video right now, and I'm going to make another one that shows me coloring her. But yeah, I just got to change the batteries. So yeah, I'll be back. Hey there everybody, I'm back. I changed the batteries on the camera, so now it's ripped, roaring, and ready to go. So now I'm going to continue this drawing tutorial of how to draw Venus, and I am going to color her now. So the colors of her body, well, the colors that she has of her body, her skin is like, you know, normal skin color, peach. And her hair is orange, her succubus wings and tail are black, and the leather that she's wearing is brown, and her eyes, her irises are purple, but we're going to draw her eyes last because they follow into the next step of drawing her. So firstly we're going to color her. I've got my peach right there, you can't really tell, but it says peach right there. And then you basically just color her. It's kind of simplistic, so won't really need to do much talking here because it's very self-explanatory. Just kind of color her. You don't necessarily have to start where I'm starting. I'm just going from foot to head, kind of. Which is strange because I usually start at the head, because of an issue that I usually have with coloring. And that is that whenever I am coloring something, then the colored pencil usually tends to smudge against the pencil that I use to draw the character with. The character or the thing, really. And that tends to make the lead of the pencil catch on to the colored pencil and then leave a black mark. And with dark kinds of colors of colored pencils, it never happens. The dark mark never happens. It's always the light colors, especially this peach and my yellow. And that's kind of unfair because those are the two colors that I use mainly the most. But, you know, it's whatever. So yeah, don't color her entire body with this. Color only the parts that I'm coloring. That is, if you can see us on this crappy resolution of camera video. I'm going to take a look at that just to see if that turned out right. And looks like it did. So there we have it. There is Venus. There is her skin color. So now we're going to color her hair, and as I said, her hair color is orange. So again, it's very self-explanatory. You just color her hair. Hair is quite long. It's taking a while. And that is her hair. And then we use a black to color the wings and the tail. There are her wings. Now comes the time to do her tail. There. Now we draw the leather that she's wearing. Color it. So you'll need a brown for that. And if you only have a dark brown, that works too. If anything, it might actually work better, but I'm not using a dark brown for this. I'm using a light brown, normal brown. And there we go. So there. And now you can see that her eyes are pure white, giving her kind of a Herobrine-ish look. We don't want that. We're going to now do her eyes. And to do that, we use a purple. Yes, this purple pencil is very, very short, and it's because I've been using it a lot. So what you do to draw her eyes is make two marks on her eyes looking kind of like this. Like that. And right now, to some people it may look like she's looking in this direction, but she's really not. We've only drawn her irises. We're going to draw her pupils next. And I left a space open there and a space open there above her iris. I didn't go all the way to the top of the eye, and that's because I'm wanting to give the impression that light is reflecting off it. And in this case, the light would be coming from somewhere up here, somewhere in that area. Which it actually is, because there actually is a light up there on the ceiling that's shining light down. But anyways, so now for coloring her eyes, we are not using a black. I'm not using a black colored pencil right here. No. We are using a Sharpie. And I cannot overemphasize this. It must be a fine pointed Sharpie. Not a thick point, but a fine point. It'll look better, trust me. So what we do is first start out by going like this, taking the Sharpie and running it alongside the iris, and then making a nice curve so that if the curve follows along the part of that I took out of the iris, it makes for kind of a nice circular shape, a circular white shape, if you can see that. Then we're going to color in her pupil. Like that. And now you can clearly see her eye staring right back at you. And we're going to basically do the same thing for her other eye. Just going there. Like that. And then filling it in. There. And now, there's another part that we have to do. We're going to take this Sharpie and we're going to outline her entire body. That's right. In case you didn't hear me correctly the first time, I'll say it again. We outline her entire body. Everywhere. Everywhere where we went with the pencil, we go with the Sharpie. Except for around her eyes, because around her eyes, the only parts that should be used with the Sharpie are her pupils and also her eyelashes, which I'm just going to quickly do now. Like that. But her eyebrows, her smile, her hair, her wings, her demon tail, her body, her hands, everything now has got to be outlined in Sharpie. And the reason that I do this actually is kind of a long story, and because this is probably going to take a while, I will explain the story to you. So whenever I am drawing characters that are dark, like black or incredibly dark brown, if, like for instance, I'm just going to say the Slender Man, for instance. If I were drawing Slender Man, if I drew his arm going over his body, like crossing over his body, overlapping it due to the angle that we're looking at him, you're not going to be able to see the part of his arm that's overlapping his body because it is black. He's wearing the black suit, right? And it's going to be overlapping the black part of his body, so you're not going to be able to see it at all. So I use Sharpie to be able to make it be able to be seen. Even if it's against something that's dark already, you can still see it, especially if you take the page and angle it so that it reflects off of light, because the Sharpie then makes it light up. Kind of, anyways. And I've always done this with all my characters now, because I've found that not only does it make dark characters look better, it also makes the picture punch out more. Makes the picture be more able to be seen. And I know that when that, for instance, take this video for instance, when I just had the pencil and it was colored and it was done with the pencil and everything, you probably couldn't really see Venus very well, like her colors and her and the other parts of her body, because of the pencil points. The pencil that was used to draw her kind of vanished into the colors. But now that I'm using a Sharpie, that is really making those punch out, making them be more able to be seen much easier, and it makes the artwork just basically look better. Makes it look much better than it did before. And again, I'm sorry for not talking very much during this, but I don't really see a point to doing that because this part is very self-explanatory. There we go. All Sharpied out. And now there's still a few things we have to take care of. One of them being her shadow. We're not going to draw a little shadow like around her body, like where her arms are over her chest. There's not going to be like a wee little shadow there. I'm just going to draw a shadow at her feet. And you can draw them basically in any way. You could take a pencil and just do a bit of a scribble. You could take this black and then kind of shade around there, or you can do what I do and take a charcoal pencil, make some dark marks like this, and then with your finger just wipe and rub. There you go. There's my finger. It's all darkened up. And then that's her shadow. So, yeah, that's pretty much her. And if you have a signature, then you can sign your picture if you want anywhere. And I do have a signature. I'm just gonna... There we go. So, yeah. That is how you draw Venus. And I hope that this video helped you and let you figure out kind of a bit of a basis of a basic grasp of what my drawing style is. And if you want any more videos done on drawing tutorials of my characters or anything else, then just all you gotta do is ask. Just suggest. I'm open to suggestions. So yeah, goodbye.